Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans. What we do around here is bring about conversations on a variety of social, psychological, mental, emotional, relational, business topics. We try to do that as often as we can. We try to do that several times per week. We've got over 600 of these available for you now on a variety of topics. Hopefully, you're finding some, if not most of them, helpful. And if you have a topic you'd like to see covered, please drop it in a comment section below. Would love to be of service to you in that way. In any event, if you are looking for a coach, would love to connect with you. And there's a couple ways to do that at PO Perception on Twitter, or you can also reach out through the About Me section of this YouTube page and kind of get there in a good way. So, traits to master this year, things to master this year. We're going to kind of go through 7 of those. The first is not chasing another person for attention. So, one of the most important things that people don't realize is that when you're chasing someone, not only are you looking desperate to them, you're changing neurosynaptically in your brain how you see yourself, because I'm not good enough. I'll never be good enough. I've got to be perfect. I've got to be good. I've got to be important. I've got to know what to do. I've got to know what to say. I'm constantly always on the move. I've got to get this person's attention. There's drama with that. There's stress with that. And ultimately, your view of yourself is going to drop. Along with that, and I will pair together, you don't beg for a person's attention. Begging and bartering is usually based upon the idea that if I can just get a person to see my value, if I can just get a person to understand where I'm coming from, if they'll just let me be around them, if they'll just let me be friends with them, if they'll just spend one night with me, they'll see how romantic I can be. If they'll just, and you begin to barter and you begin to beg and you begin to poke and prod towards the idea that in fact your value is determined by what other people think of you rather than what you do as a person, who you are as a person, how you give back to the world, and the fact that you're just alive. You deserve love just because you're here, as does every other person on the planet. And so it's important to begin to understand that begging and chasing and trying to manufacture relational experiences is one of, if not the single most damaging way to go about building relational equity and getting attention and focus upon oneself. The next is knowing your worth. So, your worth is not determined by what you've done. Your worth is determined in great part by your intention and your willingness to grow and improve. So, understanding that your worth is, in fact, something that is very much a work in progress of process, meaning that you may grow as a person, you may retract as a person, you may become childish for a moment, but that doesn't mean you're childish forever. It also doesn't mean you're a bad person if you have an immature moment. So, beginning to see yourself appropriately, beginning to know your own value in the long run and short run of things, will help you to do the next thing on the list, which is to value quality people. Notice I didn't say good people, because who determines what good and bad? Quality, though, is these individuals add to my life, I add to theirs, and we're symbiotically, uh, we're symbiotically connected. We're both benefiting from knowing each other, from dealing with each other, from being connected, from interacting, and that benefit or those benefits will continue to enhance and expand and grow as time goes on, if the relationship is mutually beneficial and is continuing to track in that direction. So the next is let go of the things you cannot change. This is super hard because, especially in Western culture, we're taught loyalty above all else, and that's important as long as loyalty isn't hurting your bottom line. Loving someone sometimes does mean letting them go. Letting them go could mean letting them choose not to get medical treatment if they're sick. It could mean letting them date someone else if they think they're going to be happier. It could mean letting them make mistakes in their career or in their choice of friends. You're not responsible for anything other than presenting alternatives. If you think someone is going in a direction that isn't good for them. But at the end of the day, every individual has the autonomy to make their own decisions. And if their decisions are negatively affecting you, it's time to consider letting go of your desire to control their outcome and to let go of the status of the relationship. So, and the next is leave what isn't good for you. Look, just because you promise to love someone forever, if they get into addiction or if they become abusive or if they do things that aren't in right alignment with moving you forward positively, progressively, and in a manner that honors the person you're becoming and the person that you want to be and the person, if you have children, that you want your children to see you as. All of these things are chances and choices that we make. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're right or wrong 100% of the time, and right or wrong are subjective terms anyway, created by a social model which needs some degree of judgment to create a sense of morality, even though universal morality, quite often, if you listen to enough people, doesn't exist. Look at the fact that we're divided into 195 countries, each of which have some same moral principles, but many different ones depending on where you are in the world. And so letting go of people that aren't good for you and don't encourage you to be your best version of yourself is important. And then self-love. Self-love is one of the most difficult things because people often will allow other people to determine how much they love themselves, which ultimately means, or the actions thereof, which ultimately means it's not self-love at all. Self-love is the acceptance of your strengths, your weaknesses, your desire to grow, your dreams, and every part of you, including the parts of yourself that you wouldn't want other people to see, or the parts that are dark, or the parts that are sad, or all of that. The more integrated you are in self-love, the more you realize that every part of you has value and purpose, and you can make decisions from there. So hopefully this is helpful. I encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.